Might be a Safari thing. Looks like it's working now. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yep.
Awesome, awesome. There we go. Might be a Safari thing. There we go. No thanks. Let's record. Hi, Catherine. All right, all right, all right. We are live, boys and girls. We are live. It is Monday. It's one of my favorite days of the week. Thank God it's Monday. Pleasure to see each and every one of you guys here today. If you're watching from over there in the YouTube land, feel free to pop in live with us. You can do that by going to thelosttransition.com/live. We'd love to have you. It's way more fun inside here versus just sitting there watching, right? Anyway, every Monday we come together at 12 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. This is something that we've been doing for 3 years now, at least. We just decided that 2025 we were going to go live on YouTube, share the broadcast with the world. Part of this too, if you're paying attention to social media and you're on Facebook, your lives as of here shortly are going to be disappearing. I don't know if you guys know about that or not. We can talk about that, but we join here every Monday. We want to hear about all of your wins. We have a little bit of a conversation, nuggets, gold nuggets that I'd like to put down, things that we could think about to kind of progress for the next week. We get a chance to get rid of anything that bad may have happened, celebrate the good, and move on forward. So that's how we roll around here. Appreciate each and every one of you guys being here. Let's start the show. Let's have some fun. Who wants to share some wins? What happened last week? Somebody share some wins with us. Go ahead, Keisha. Get us started.
Well, my daughter, I was able to see my daughter get into her apartment because she's been staying with me for a little, with my mom and I for a little over a month because they kept moving her moving date. So, and it was getting very frustrating for her. So I was so glad to see them and not have to share a bathroom anymore.
Right?
Sharing a bathroom with five people is rough.
Yeah, you gotta love your family, but then it's even better when they have their own place.
So, and they put everything back like they were never here. So I didn't have to hear my OCD mother going, "It's not right. It's not right. I need it. Da, 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 da." I
Oh,
didn't have
that's
to hear
funny.
any of that. I had a whole peaceful weekend. They moved. My grandkids came in, hugged and kissed me, and they went about their business.
Love it, love it. Yeah, I think my weekend went by super fast. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah, I agree
Weekend
with
was
you.
super
This
fast.
whole year is going by even faster than last year, and last year went by quick.
Well, yeah, we're already into week 11. Holy crap, we're already into March, right? That's what Vicky and I were
March
talking.
is more than halfway over.
Well, quarter one, right? Right?
Uh-huh.
Hopefully, you guys are paying attention to the time that's flying by and you're writing down whatever goals that you guys have and meeting and achieving and succeeding those goals. Thank you for sharing, Keisha. Good to hear that. Thanks. Anybody else got some good stuff to share? Doesn't have to be business related, personal stuff that you feel like sharing is okay as well. I love to hear these stories because first off, I live vicariously through you, and I love hearing positive things that are happening in your life. It sets the tone off, so don't be afraid if you got something good you want to share. Tell us what's positive happening in your life.
All right, so here's a story. I'm jumping in because nobody else is. Go ahead, Vicky. I'll go after you.
Oh, that was funny.
I love you.
Vicky, you want to go?
She's over there looking for the mute button.
I caught her with a mouthful.
You
It's
did. You actually did.
like when you go eat
I've
at a
had a great. Can
restaurant.
you hear me now? Am
Yes,
I unmuted?
yes.
Yeah, I'm sorry for the delay there. Yeah, I did literally have a mouthful. Um, this week's been great. Everything's going wonderful. I did experience a little bit of setback, but I'm overcoming that and continuing to move forward. I'm excited about all the changes that's occurring, and I'm pushing forward as fast as I can. So,
Yeah, I gotta say, like, if we look up the definition of resilience in the dictionary, there'd be a picture of Vicky right there. And that's something positive to say, guys. Like,
mm,
she's gone through so much crap, but been able to overcome it. So we're really happy and proud of you. Almost brings a tear to my eye, my friend. Keep on
thank you.
soaring. Keep on soaring. Keep on getting better. We love
That's
you.
the plan.
We love you.
I'm working really hard and heavy on branding myself. I mean, I realized, that I had a lot of things that I needed to change. I was branding the businesses. I was branding my domains. I was branding my TEs, but I wasn't branding Vicky Oscar Botley. And that's the most critical change that I'm in the process of moving over. And so that's what I'm doing. And I'm loving it. And thanks to all of y'all.
Beautiful, beautiful. I love it. Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing. So, so awesome. All right, Rita, now you're up.
Come in, swing. All right. Had a great call with Blakester this weekend. I think it was a weekend. I look, sometimes you have those days, I will say for those of you that are getting on in your years, being more experienced, and you think you can rely on your memory, don't. And if you think you can rely on your Google Calendar and you think you get it gives you what do you call those alarms? Uh yeah, it's good if you pay attention to them, but he showed me his alarm system, and I was like, that would major stress me out. But I was 1 hour early for one appointment. I was 15 minutes late for his appointment because I thought I was like at 3 o'clock. It was actually at 2:30 and I made the appointment. I was like, duh, what is going on? And then I didn't share with him that I I thought yesterday I had a date to go see Shen Yu or Shen Yen or one of them, the dancers with all the stuff. And so that I thought was Sunday. And I double planned, double booked. I'd planned a meeting with my family, which everybody came, which is another win for me, about my mom's and dad's home that they're going to sell. It has infestation with rodents, more so during the winter than the summer. I don't know what that looks like. I just know there's a bunch of them in the attic from what I've been told. But anyway, they decide to sell. So at least I was on time for that. But then I found out that the Shenyang thing isn't until Wednesday. So I was like, whew. So my whole week was screwed up with appointments on the weekend. I was just like, oh my God, what is going on? So it's alerting me to do something. What did I learn? Look at my calendar. Just look at your calendar. That's all you have to do. It's super simple. But sometimes our brain convinces, I got this. I'm going to remember. And you know darn well you're not going to, but you've convinced yourself. Vicky's shaking her head. She knows. And Curtis, don't be looking like that. It's going to happen to you too. So you still young. I'm not
Uh,
sure.
that-
Not sure about Catherine. But
uh,
anyway, so the win was getting that
that-
Zoom meeting together with my family. There's a property situation that we're trying to do in one part of Maryland. And then the second thing is my parents' home, which just came up that they want to sell it. So nobody wants to invest and fix it up and do all that kind of stuff. And so I'm thinking about how I can get it done. Rent it out for college students and find some investors. So if you know anybody in the Maryland area,
that-
it's in Silver Spring. The at if it's in great condition, it's 565, but I'm not going to talk about that right now. But it's not. So just looking to rehab it and make some money. Okay, those are my wins.
Right on. Well,
I'm
these are
out.
yeah. Silver Springs, Maryland was some of my old fun stomping grounds, as you know. Had fun there in Silver Springs. But let
Yeah.
me show you my system. So all it is this is it. I've got alarms set up on my phone. Super simple to me. It's super simple, right? So all I do is I look at my calendar for whatever I have for the day. If I've got a meeting at 1 o'clock, then I go to 1 o'clock and I do 10 minutes before 12:50. If I got another one at 2, then I go and I look, what are my times? 1:55. And that's all I do. I just set up alarms so that as my day goes by, alarm goes off, I look at it. Oh, I must have a meeting. super simple in my world. But I
I
think
look
what
at that
overwhelmed
and
her is because you see all these times, right? But it's just the ones that you select that make the most sense, right? I just throughout the time I've said, okay, well, I got a meeting at 5. Let me set an alarm for that. And throughout time, I've got pretty much every hour or half hour that's in here just set up, and I just set an alarm. Voila. Go ahead, Keisha.
no voila for me, but if it works for you, I'm good.
So what I do is when I wake up in the morning, I look at whatever I have scheduled for that day, right? Now, and then I tell Alexa to remind me for what meeting, whether it's a Zoom or whatever. The only time I don't do that is on Mondays because I know Monday once I start at 10, I'm going till 10. So I don't have I don't need Alexa for that
Uh,
because everybody will hear her. But everything else, all the rest of my week, I just tell Alexa to remind me to do such and such about 5 minutes ahead of time.
nice. Okay, cool. Anybody else in here use Alexa? You do, Vicky? Cool. I don't know.
No,
No, I don't
yes,
either. I got my
um, Robert.
things about it. Yes.
That's I was on a training this weekend myself, and
Nice.
they was training on, how you can just make your life better as far as you remember what you need to do.
Sure.
And they let us know that on our phone that there is a reminder that
Sure.
is free, and you can use the reminder and tell reminder to remind you of your appointments.
Right.
And I said, wow, I didn't know that. So I've been, I have used that. And so it's great. As you go along with setting your alarm as well. You can use reminder, which every
Mhm.
phone have it, even Android and iPhone. It might be a different way. I don't know what Android have, but I know on the iPhone it's called reminder.
Right.
It's great. So that's one of my wins today.
Yay.
So I
I
like
love
that.
that.
Everyone can just look and see if you have a reminder on your phone and use reminder. And it
You
goes
know,
on. It's a little buzz that goes on. It's loud, whatever way you want to set it, and it remind you of what you need to do.
there you go. And if anybody's brand new here, we're having this conversation because it is the lost transition, which we talk about being able to transition from the job to time freedom, working for yourself and from home. And what this resonates to me with is just technology in general, right? And you're never too old to learn something new. Like really, I try to learn something new every day. So appreciate you sharing that with us. So there's multiple ways that we can keep up with what we've got going on. We got calendars, we got alarms, we got reminders. Another thing that I use too, just off to touch base and add to it, is I use notes on my phone quite a bit. Like if there's something super important, I jot it down so I don't forget it. And then of course there's voice notes. Side note and shameless plug. That's what we're going to try to have on Muster Us when we launch it. Going to be talking to my business partner about potentially getting it open here very soon. But I want to have voice notes on it, right? So people can, instead of just posting a picture or a text, you can actually post a voice note, and then people can go and listen to that voice note and comment on that voice note. So keep your fingers and toes crossed that we get this accomplished very fast.
Super cool. I just need a reminder to set the reminder. And yes, there
There
there is one on the phone. So
you
thank
go.
you for that, Catherine. And Android does have one. Super cool. Thank you.
Remind.
My problem is I tend to ignore certain tones. So I have to set different tones for different types of meetings because
Uh,
some things I just, my brain automatically tunes it out.
that's the OCD in you.
I don't have Alexa, but I do have Google Voice. I don't trust it because it starts talking when I don't ask it anything. So I'm not going to use it for anything. I just like it's just there.
Yeah,
You mean
see,
Google Home?
Whatever it is, it's a round thing.
I was gonna dive into that topic, but then I didn't. But since you brought it up, let's dive into it. I'm just not a fan of Alexa or Google or Siri, any of those because I'm not a fan of the listening in, right? I'd like to keep some sort of privacy, so I've never really been a fan of that. But on the flip side, it's funny because my son, he's all Alexa now. He's all geared up. Alexa, turn the lights on, down low, whatever. Um, and it's funny. It's funny to think of that. Now, yeah. Keisha, go ahead. Save me.
See, with me, no, actually, I'm the opposite. They're gonna listen regardless. I might as well use it to my benefit.
Sure, sure,
You know, same way I feel about AI. AI has its ups and downs, but I'm gonna use it to my benefit.
sure,
You know what I'm
sure.
saying? If
Yeah,
I have to,
totally.
if I have to take the downside, I'm gonna take the upsides too.
I got you there. I, what comes to my mind is choosing my battles. Gonna choose my battles on that one. So I love technology, as you know, and artificial intelligence. I definitely love that. But someone sitting there listening to the conversation, not that I ever have anything to hide and I'm always truthful, but yeah, just somebody listening in. And I guess I think and speculate because there are bad people out there, right? And I can't tell you how many times that people have tried to take what I've said and twist it in their own words. That's where the mindset comes from, right? So that's why I'm careful about that. But to each his own. I think if technology works for you, by all means, use it. Use it, especially
Um,
if it helps you out.
I want to, somebody sent me a text this morning, and it was a link to whatever. But the important thing is, stop laughing, Keisha. Not funny. So it talked about the impact that people make on your life. And if you are new here, have been here for a little bit, even if you haven't said a whole lot, Curtis, um, I'm picking on Curtis today. But anyway, I just want to say how grateful I do believe in gratitude. I'm grateful for everyone that's here because you add something, whether it's making me feel happy, informing me of something new, making my day better, the caring, just the comments. You have no idea. Even if you have no idea of the impact. And Blakester, specifically to you, I appreciate all that you do for and selflessly because you don't have to.
Oh,
So I really, really appreciate that. There are few and far between and not enough people like that. So I just really, really appreciate the professionalism and your openness and candidness and total transparency about how you work with us and what you do. So if you're new, just stay close to the fire. Keisha's got the fire behind her, so just stay too close to the fire. Because everybody, you stick here, everybody grows. Everybody grows.
well, if you're trying to make me smile, it's working. This is not about me, but you know what? It is a great segue to, to get into our conversation. Does anybody have, thank you for sharing that. That makes my heart very happy. Anybody have any last wins that they want to share before we go into
Yes,
today's topic? Yes, please
I'm gonna
do.
share my win. Miss
Yes.
Rita saying such nice things to me. And no, for you too, Mr. Blake. I appreciate this call. And I got to talk to some kids that I've been like a soul dad to since I came home from prison. So I've been being kept away from them for a while. Just like a little bit of probation, I guess. I've been
Ooh.
put on by the mom, so the kids got to reach out to me and they missed me and I thought they, moved on. So that was a win.
Ooh, man, brother, thank you for sharing that. I felt the energy on that one, bro. Woo, man. Yay. Oh my God. That
Thank you,
almost
Curtis. Thank you. Appreciate you.
bless you, brother.
It's
Bless you.
awesome.
Thank you for sharing that. I don't know if anybody can tell that
I just want to say that, look, that is extremely important.
one.
You working with kids, it doesn't, if you're biological or not, just pouring good things in their life is a huge thing. I'm an educator, school system 30 years, but I'm an entrepreneur. Anyway, another conversation. But it does make a difference. I've seen it. I see the impact over the years, and it does make a huge difference. So kudos to you.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Big time.
I brought a tear to my eye, brother. Thank you for sharing that. Very, very nice. Anybody else? Like, I don't know if you can follow it, but that was awesome, brother. So let's, as I said, that's a good segue to talk about what we're talking about today. Okay, so this is week 11. Woo! Already week 11 into the year 2025. So today we're going to talk about customer experience and relationship building in sales. Okay. So, as you guys know, if you've been around for any length of time, I go through and thoughtfully try to think about, well, what is it that we should talk about this next Monday so that we can kind of take what we've learned over the past weeks and move forward. And customer experience and relationship building, in my opinion, is super important, especially when you're thinking about trying to transition from that JOB to network marketing. Now, part of that, if you don't know or if you've never heard me explain this to anybody, is the simple fact that even though it's network marketing, right? And we all know this, so I'm probably preaching to the choir. There is some work required, right? But when I say work, I want to make sure that everybody's clear and understanding. People call it work and stuff like that. For me, I don't look at it as work. For me, I look at the ability, if you will, to be able to be creative, number one, right? But ultimately, what I'm really doing when it comes to network marketing is just simply having a conversation, just like we are here now, right? So that being said, when you learn the art of communication, like what we teach around here, and you learn and understand the sales psychology side of things, and you learn to overcome those basic answers to objections that people will give you, it becomes very easy for you to, what we talk about in our team coaching, to recruit on demand, right? To be able to find the right people, have the right conversations. And a lot of that comes with customer experience as well as relationship building. And when I'm talking about relationship building in sales, one of the things that I've been preaching for decades, right, is this quote saying the easiest way to close a customer is to let them close themselves. And a lot of that tends to come from what my knowledge is with relationship building. Now, you're listening to somebody that did over 20 years of door to door marketing to where part of my job was I had to knock on your door and I had to get you to like me within 30 seconds. Like literally, that's how it works in the direct marketing experience. Because if that person, and we all need to know and understand, sad but true, everybody has that old judging a book by its cover thing, right? So perception is everything. Sometimes when you come to the door, if they don't perceive you the right way, unfortunately, people will tend to be negative in many situations, right? So doing that door to door gave me a lot of experience in relationship building, but being able to do it within a quick manner, as mentioned, within 30 seconds. Because if you can't grab somebody's attention and stick your foot in the door, you're never going to get in the door, right? So we're going to talk about those things today, customer experience and relationship building. But you have to understand too that what we're talking about is because the market is competitive, okay? We need to make sure that we're having a memorable customer experience. And realistically, that's all it is. That's all that I'm doing right here in front of you guys. You know, Rita mentioned it, but I just want to make that a memorable experience for people, right? And some of you guys, you're not buying anything from me at all, right? I personally want to pour into you, and then, hey, if there's something down the road that we can do together, then great, right? But ultimately, if you don't know, my legacy is just to try to help as many people as I can before I graduate this planet, so that when I graduate the planet, people will say, "Hey, you know that guy, Robert Blakely, the Blakeser, he actually gave a shit about people." And when it comes to customer experience, quite honestly, that's really all it matters and what it comes down to is do you care about the person more than you care about the dollar, right? You have to, in this environment, not do this for the money. I know it sounds kind of counterintuitive because many of us come into this thinking, oh, well, I've got to do this because I want to make more money and I want to make a difference in my life. But I can tell you all from personal experience that that is the total wrong demeanor to have. That's the wrong mindset, right? You always hear people screaming about this mindset thing. But if you're out there and you truly care about people and you're just doing things to solve problems, guess what, guys? The money's going to happen. And when you do that, the customer experience is going to be way better because you actually cared about the customer. Imagine that, right? So we'll delve into some strategies that I want to talk about. But ultimately, the customer experience, when you want to put like a definition to it, it's the perception that your customers have, right? So we've talked about this in our boot camps and stuff. The way that I define this is when it comes down to your personal brand, like Vicky had mentioned, right? People are going to join you for who you are. If you're a person that people don't like, then obviously people aren't going to want to join you. And we've said this before too. This isn't about pitching and selling. It's more about personal development and you becoming that person that people actually want to follow. The other thing to consider too is that people are going to connect with those people that can show them how to get where they want to be. And that person on the other end has already been there, right? Right? Somebody that's already been where they want to be. So the perception matters. That goes down to the brand, meaning that when you have your website, you don't want ugly colors there. You don't want stuff that's going to scare them off of your page or your funnels, right? You want good, clean websites, good colors, good fonts that make sense, that are going to take them through this customer experience. And throughout that customer experience is really going to decide whether or not they're going to join you, right? So the customer experience has to be a good one. And that being said, when it comes to the customer experience and then relationship building, I go back and revert to what I always talk about, which is level one listening. So as you're having people go through that customer experience, don't be afraid to ask for feedback, right? If somebody comes to you and, says, hey, well, this was a little bit difficult for me to understand because of whatever, whatever, then take that into consideration and maybe make that change that's necessary that somebody's asking for as part of your enhancing customer experience, right? Everybody understand what I'm saying? Give me a one in the chat area. So I say that to say this because we've mentioned before that things are going to change throughout your journey. Your logo is going to change. Your colors, your fonts are going to change, especially as you get to learn more and more about this network marketing thing or this digital marketing thing. So we have to think about customer experience. Can't think about ourselves, but what is the customer going through? If we think about the customer experience, that's the best way that we can have the customer's loyalty and the brand differentiation from somebody else that's out there in what some people might call or think that is a saturated market when it's really not. I want to say about a week and a half ago, I did a post on Facebook and it said it wasn't about going viral, it's about standing out, right? In today's society, everybody's sitting there, oh, I got to go viral. I want to go viral. Virility is great. If you could get some virality going, that's great. But ultimately, it's still going to be about the customer's experience. Now, I'm always gonna screw that up, so forgive me. But there's a phrase there, something about people don't care about anything until they know how much you care, right? However that thing goes.
People
Actually,
don't know how much you know. I had it, I left it. They don't care about, people don't care about how much you know, but they care about how much you care. I don't know. Keisha, go ahead.
something like that.
Yeah.
Let's see
People
if we
don't
can
care
get
about
on.
what you know until they know how much you care.
There you go, right? So ultimately, what I'm saying is care about people, right? That's what really makes a difference. I can tell you countless of times where I've connected with somebody on Facebook, right? And I've said, hey, thanks for the connection. I look forward to our friendship. And they've turned around and said, well, you're not going to pitch me? I look, well, Is this a common occurrence? Like, is that what happens? You get pitched all the time? And all I can say is, well, why would I pitch you? I don't know you enough, right? I don't know you well enough to understand what your needs are. And I'm telling you, every single time that I tell people that, they're like, oh my God, thank you so much. They appreciate it, which, believe it or not, is part of the customer experience, right? See, my personality is like, I'm not trying to sell you anything. I've got stuff that you need, and we could talk about it. And if you find the need, then great. But I'm that person, as you guys know that have been around with me. I'm married to the process, divorced from the outcome. If it's a no, it's a no. You're not going to hurt my feelings. I've had them surgically removed. I know that there are millions upon millions of people that are out there in this world that need my help, right? And I know that I can give them a good customer experience. I know that I can do some great relationship building. And guess what? Not everybody's going to stick around forever. Unfortunately, sad but true, hard but fair, sad but true, like my drill sergeant used to say. But guess what? It's the ones that stick around that are the most important, like all of you that are in here right now. Those are the ones that are the most important. The ones that show up to the party, the ones that are close to the fire. Those are the ones that you give them that really good customer experience. You give them that relationship. You care about them. That's all I'm doing. I'm not doing anything special that you or Tommy Sue or, you know, Jenny from the block can't do. So, customer experience is number one. Number two, relationship building. When we talk about relationship building, it's just establishing the process of like nurturing and lasting connections with customers. See, another thing that I've been blessed to be able to do in my experience is understand that customer journey for many, many years because of being on both sides of the fence. And what I mean by that is or I should have said both sides of the phone, right? Because I've done the telemarketing. I've been on the pitching side. And then I've also been on the trying to be sold side, right? And I can tell you all again from personal experience, some of you guys hear my stories. If you don't come to me correct, you're going to get a no really fast, really fast. If you don't do the steps that I teach, I'm going to smell the sale. And guess what I'm going to say? I'm going to say no. And the reason why that is because of going back to number one, customer experience. You're not giving me a good customer experience. You're taking me as a number instead of a person. Ooh, let's think about that because that's pretty deep right there, right? So it is the process of establishing and nurturing lasting connections. So you've heard me say this before, and I learned it from one of my mentors, is we call it the Friends for Life program. The Friends for Life program. Imagine that, right? Because here's the thing. I don't want to have just a one done wham bam thank you ma'am experience with you. I want to be your friend to the end. Like Chucky, but not like Chucky, you know? Right? Right? I truly believe in my heart of hearts we can all learn something from each other. That's just the way that I was raised. My mother taught me that, right? So relationship building is key. And then again, it goes back to just caring about that person. There are times, and I'm not telling you these stories to say that, oh, I'm this great person or anything. I just literally just care about people. There are friends in my life right now because of the fact that I'm a veteran. Some of them are veterans. Some of them are, I would consider sometimes on the verge of suicide. They call me, right? They call me. Many times they don't have other people to talk to. And really, again, as I mentioned, it's about being there for that other person. Now, if you are there for that other person and you take the time to listen, now goes back to how you're making that person feel. If that person has a problem in their life and there's a way that you can solve it, then they could potentially be a buyer of what you have, right? If not, so what, right? Just be there for them. You never know. It might be 3 years down the road where you find this amazing product that you want to stand behind, and just so happens that that person needs that product. Now, the flip side of this too that comes to mind is there's nothing wrong with you referring your friends to other people's businesses either. You know, that's like so. I think that a lot of this used to be done, but I think less people are doing it. And this could just be me, but I have no problem, obviously, referring people to my friends. Now, I think that as I'm saying this, it's occurring to me that that could also potentially be part of whatever that person's network is, right? They say your network is your net worth. So if you don't have a network, it's a little bit difficult for you to solve problems, right? So dive in to meetings like this, get accustomed and acquainted with the members that are around, find out what they can do, the problems that they can solve, and then potentially share your experiences or share their information with the people that need it. That goes back to the give to get. You never know if you share that person, they might reciprocate and be like, hey, this person needed this, and the only person that I could think of that could solve their problem is you. Well, that would be because of your customer experience that you gave to that other person. That would be because of the relationship building that you did by knowing what that other person did and then potentially referring somebody to them that needed their help, right? So I'm diving deep into this because I want you to understand that, again, your network is your net worth. So relationship building is very important. That includes all of us that are in here, right? Know what that other person does. Because if you have the experience and you could be that go-to person and you're solving more people's problems, then guess what? More people are going to talk about you. More people are going to talk good about you and potentially send you more customers, right? Word of mouth advertising is hands down and always will be the best form of marketing that you can get out there. But there's no way that people are going to talk about you and share people to you and with you if you're not giving them that good customer experience, right? If you're not good at relationship building, if you're not that person that people want to be around, people aren't going to refer other people to you, right? So that's enough on relationship building. Number three, feedback loops. This is pretty important. So when we talk about feedback loops, it's just simply it's a process for collecting or analyzing or acting on customers' feedback. So with that being said, again, this is for those that are looking at transitioning from that 9 to 5 to freedom. As I mentioned before, if somebody says something that maybe didn't work for them, that's a feedback loop. They're telling you, they're giving you your feedback. So those are things that we want to take into consideration. I know I kind of jumped the gun on the conversation a little earlier in introducing you to it, but any simple process like that. I know last year, which was really cool, I had mentioned the fact that I had had some people that had dropped off of my one of my businesses, and I had mentioned the fact that I should have done an exit interview. Exit interview. Write that down if you're not doing those or you haven't thought about those, consider doing an exit interview. Hey, I know, I don't know, you left the business. I'm not exactly why, but do you mind, letting me know so that maybe I can do better for the next person? Put it all on you, like, hey, maybe I made a mistake, right? Maybe I made a mistake, and because I'll tell you again from my experience, when somebody cancels or quits, right? Many times it can be a lack of communication or understanding, right? So ask for those feedback loops. There's other things that you could do off the top of my head. You could do surveys. Maybe you have a Facebook group. You could do some surveys within your group. But getting feedback from people and saying, hey, well, how was that presentation as an example? Well, I loved it. It was just a little bit long. I always take those feedback into consideration. True story. we do our team coaching inner circle every 2 weeks. And one of my students literally told me, she said, well, I find them very long because we go 2 hours, right? We dive deep. And most people might take offense to that. And even her through the conversation, she was like, I hope you don't get offended. I'm like, no, why would I get offended by you telling me how you really feel? Right? Why would I get offended by you telling me something that I could do better, giving me a feedback loop? So you know what I did? I thought about what she said. She came to training. I adjusted just for her, gave the content, boom, 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 said, okay, you're free to go. Right? And I couldn't have done that if I had not gotten that feedback. So feedback loops are very important. Set up some kind of effective channel for gathering some type of customer feedback so that again, it's still going back to what is that customer experience, right? What is the experience that you're giving that person? Now, number four, I'm going to get into emotional sales because as you guys know, I talk a lot about sales psychology here. And it's nothing more than transference of that emotion. Really, when you look deeper, it's a vibration, right? It's a frequency, it's a resonance. I'm not going to get too esoteric on you, but it's just transferring that information. But also, if you're looking at like the definition of things, it's leveraging emotional connections to drive sales and build customer loyalty. So it's tapping into what makes that person tick, right? This is why those of you in the team coaching know about the questions that we ask people, right? And why we ask those questions. Why do we want to know these things? It's partially so that we can get that emotional connection, attach that person to their vision, and when we can show them that we have the vehicle that can help them get to whatever their vision is, then it's a lot easier for that customer to say yes without you having to even sell them anything, guys. Right? Rita is really understanding this more and more as we communicate, right? Like it is, how do I want to say this? It really is easy to sell when you know how, because you're not really selling when you understand the dynamics of it. When really what you're doing is you're having a conversation with people, finding out what their pain points are, addressing those, and then leveraging those pain points to do the selling for you. Right? So those are the things that I want to kind of bring to the table and talk about. Customer experience, number one, relationship building, number two, feedback loops, number three, and emotional sales, number four. Now, the emotional sales itself, though, guys, understand that that's going to come back to that number one, customer experience. What is the experience that you're giving that customer? I'll give you a brief explanation of that too, because we talked about this in our inner circle training this last Saturday. Right? It's important that you take that person. Like everybody's looking for this automated shit, right? Nonsense. Like it's great to have some automation to things, but you still can't lose that human touch and that human connection. And it's very, very important that you guys really understand this. You can't just pass everybody through your funnel and expect that they're going to stick. It's like throwing shit up against the wall and seeing what sticks, right? If you want people to stick, then you have to go back to that number one thing that we're talking about, which is customer experience. That means you need to walk them through the sign up. If you're not doing that, walk them through the sign up. If you don't know how to walk them through the sign up, it's time to learn. It's time to learn, right? You should know what are the ins and outs of it. When they come to this page, what are they going to see? What are the options that they need to click? And be able to literally, without even looking at the page, walk them through it. So this next part, what you're going to see is yada, yada, yada. What I want you to do is ba, 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 ba. And don't be afraid to say what I'd like you to do is, and literally instruct them. If you walk them through, that's giving them more of that customer experience. tell them what to expect, right? So that there's no little gotchas, there's no hidden things. Oh, well, you didn't tell me about that part, Keisha. You know, there's none of that, right? So understanding the emotional drivers behind customers' purchases, though, makes it so much easier to sell. Makes it easier for you to have and give a good customer experience. When you care about people, it makes it easier for you to do relationship building. When you listen to people, it's easier for you to take advice, aka feedback loops. And then that leads right back into number four, being an emotional sales. Everybody see how one, two, three, four just kind of keeps into that little infinity cycle, if you will? And that's my golden nugget for you today, boys and girls. So, anybody in here, let's open it up for a discussion. Is anyone in here currently collecting and acting upon customer feedback like what we talked about? Does anybody have an exit interview, or do you talk to people, or do you find out? Keisha, go ahead.
Actually, the reason I started building that page about to help walk my new associates through the first 20 days
Mhm.
is because a lot of the when I spoke to a lot of them that weren't doing anything, they just it's not that they were unwilling to do, they were frozen in place. They were frozen in place because they didn't have the confidence. They didn't have the confidence because they didn't have the skill. Because they're used to being employees, going working 9 to 5, being told where to be, what to do, and da da da. And now you're like, you're an entrepreneur. Here's the resources page. You got it.
I love that you said that, and thank you for sharing that because it's so true. And as I've mentioned before, people only know what you tell them, and tagging along with what she's saying. If they're coming from that experience of being a 9 to 5, well, when they join your team, guess what? They kind of look at you as the boss, even though you're not the boss and you can't technically tell them what to do or what hours to
Well,
work.
actually, that's exactly right. Because that's why I started like when you're first coming in, I am going to treat you like I'm your boss. For just a few days, we're going to act like I'm your boss. This is what we're going to do. This is where we're going to do da 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 da.
Sure.
And as I start showing you the skills and you're able to um, do it on your own, I was like, now, see, you didn't need me. Go ahead, go ahead now. You got this.
There you go. I love it. I love it. And when you're doing that too, refer back to as you're teaching people, refer back to show them how easy it is and ask them questions like, so did you see what I did? Can you do this? If you can get them into that mentality to understand that what you're doing isn't really, I wouldn't say that it's difficult. Is it challenging? Sure, because you don't know. But just like anything else, if you're going to a new job, you're going to have to learn that, right? And so many people are afraid to learn what it takes to be successful, when in essence, it's again back to what we were talking about at the very beginning. It's network marketing. You need to treat it just like a job, but I'd like you to work smarter than harder, right? I'd like to try to help give you some of those insights so that instead of it taking you 5, 6, 7, 8 years to figure it out, maybe it only takes you 2 or 3, right? And realistically, what that's going to come down to is how close are you to the fire? How much are you immersing yourself in the data? How much are you, going to the events? How much are you just absorbing all that information? And then how well can you share that information with other people? Rita, go ahead.
Okay, thanks. What I came up to mind with was I mentioned it earlier, but I didn't finish it because thoughts just go everywhere in my head. Okay, so one of them was the human connection, and I did get a Facebook post um, that talked about a teacher who gave an assignment to her children, and it was to write the person's name down, skip a line, write the next person's name down in their class, and then write something nice about them. I don't know if it's a true story or not, but it's a good story. So one of them died, and they went to the funeral, and somebody came up to the teacher and said, "Are you the teacher that he had?" I think it was the parent or somebody. But anyway, I think you should have this. And in his possession, folded up, he had this paper where everybody listed how they felt about him. And as the classmates were there, they had theirs too, and they talked about how it was in a wedding album that whatever they created. But those kinds of things where we're using AI, I love AI. I do. However, I heard a discussion about educators, teachers being extinct because they can put them on different programs and this and that. But what's missing is that human element that AI will never replace. So
Mhm.
I wanted to share that, the human connection, and also in dealing with people, when you have a team, when people don't do what you tell them to do, yeah, that's a big challenge. So I don't care what you put out there. You can tell them until the cows come home, until they are personally developed, or you have those heartfelt conversations before they go MIA on you, then that's a little, so many have, which takes me to the exit strategy. So in being a quote unquote leader, I think that now I can go back and say, hey, look, I wasn't the best leader. Be totally honest, because I was coming from a background of tell them what to do and they'll do it. Those are the kids. That's what they have to do. But adults don't do that. So in order to better help my team, just to talk to them to find out, hey, I don't want anything, just checking on you, how you doing? How can I? And if you tell them how can I help you, they don't know how you can help them
Right.
because they don't know themselves. So, but anyway,
That's a great
if,
point.
if they allow you to help or come in and let me show you, um, I think I can now go back to all those people and say, hey, if you're looking to get back in, I'm a different person now. I got the Blakester as my coach.
I love that. I love that. You don't necessarily have to say you're a different person.
Oh, I
Just
don't know.
say,
I would rather say that because
yeah,
of how I am.
let's say you've learned some things, whatever, however,
Mhm.
right? But I love that you're saying that. And to piggyback off of that, for those of us watching, especially out there on YouTube land, you have to understand something. Just when you get somebody into your business, doesn't mean that that's the last time you talk to them.
Say that
Hello?
again. Oh, never
When
mind.
you get somebody into your business, that's not the last time that you talk to them. Hello?
No, 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 I agree. But
I'm
when they
I'm
stop
making sure.
communicating, when they stop communicating with you, then it's like,
Then there's a problem,
yes,
right?
yes.
So it's up to you, and especially those of us that are now site, thank God we have the ability to run those rotations of remembrance. I would highly recommend that if you have a team, put them into your rotations of remembrance. Make sure that you're reaching out to them once every week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever the case is. Oh, I haven't heard from Rita. Let me reach out to her. Oh, I haven't heard from Curtis. Let me reach out to him. I honestly like I use those rotations of remembrance, but honestly, I literally just people pop into my head, and that's the way I deal with it. I'm connected to the universe, and they say, "Hey, you know what? You haven't heard of so and so," and I listen. That's again listening, very important, not just to what people are saying, but to what the universe is telling me. And I immediately, okay, let me go reach out to that person, right? Keisha, you had something you wanted to add?
I was just piggybacking on what you were saying,
Yeah, yeah.
but you basically said it.
Oh, darn it! Didn't mean
Okay.
didn't mean to steal your thunder.
Something else you said about tapping into the universe.
Yeah.
You can I've heard that for years, and I don't mean that. I mean, people's thing have run across my head all the time. Like,
Yeah.
okay, but you don't know what to do with it because you don't recognize what it is. So you have to have the awareness to say that somebody else is trying to contact you. If they're just running through your head rampant and it keeps coming back, or even it comes once, because people all the time say, I was just thinking about you. And for a long time, I was just like, yeah, I had too in my head,
Ooh,
but I never said anything. I was just like, okay, went right over my head.
that's
And
funny.
then until I took the time to recognize the voices that I heard, that it wasn't just my brain going on playground duty or whatever, then it was easy to recognize at that point. Like, okay, I'm gonna call you now because I heard. I heard you talking to me or
Like
trying
I'm
to say
hearing
something.
voices.
It's hard to learn to listen to yourself sometimes, though, especially when you first realize that you actually do hear the universe talking to you.
Amen.
Because as an empath, I feel other people's emotions. But if you saw me in my teens and early 20s, I was volatile and angry most of the time. And somewhere around 24, I realized, wait a minute, these are not my feelings, it's everybody else's.
Uh,
But now
deep.
I go through and I will pick up the phone every once in a while and I will send out this text that only my friends know. You breathing? Good.
That's what's up.
Because I do
Just
get
making
tunnel
sure you're
vision
still
every now and
alive over
again.
there. No, I do the same
But
thing too, man. I
I
mean,
got a great compliment the other day from a friend of mine because he was going through some stuff and I was checking on him and I said, but because he's a very popular chef, so everybody's around him, everybody's whatever. So I'm like, where are your friends? He goes, Keisha, you have redefined my definition of friendship because it doesn't matter whether I spoke to you today or last year or whatever, you are always the one that I can count on to check on me genuinely and not because you're waiting for the opportunity to say something else.
love it. Love it.
He goes, you're happy for me when I win. You're sad for me when I lose. You're mad with me when somebody does something. He goes, you are a friend.
Holy crap. Sounds like you care. Imagine that.
Don't tell nobody. You know my reputation I've
No,
built about being not caring.
yeah, we won't tell nobody. We won't tell nobody. It's our secret and YouTube's.
I'm telling.
Okay, everybody, make sure you share this broadcast with everyone you know. Make sure they watch it to the very end. I love it. I love it.
I
Well,
purposely
That's
waited till after 12.
that's one of those wait for it, wait for it, wait for it.
well, I think we had a fantastic Monday mastermind. I feel very, very full. I hope that you all do too. I trust that you guys do. Beyond that, man, any other feedback, positive notes? Anybody want to say any final words? No? All right.
Final words.
Yes.
Love you all. Thank you.
I just say it's just a pleasure, and it's just a pleasure to be here, honestly,
Oh,
every single Monday.
oh,
And you just put the food on the plate and
thank
feed us for the
you.
rest of the week.
That's really what I want to do here, man. Let's think about those things, right? And let's move forward. Let's go have a kick-ass week. Let's kick-ass take names. And let's get her done, my friends. Tutu, love y'all. Bye-bye. We'll see you next Monday. Same